evening, everyone. Let me start with a question. How many of you here would call yourself a good reader? Could you raise your hands for me? How many of you here would call yourself a good reader? Well, that kind of makes my job easy, I guess. Now, slightly harder question. What exactly makes a good reader? Is it someone who can tell me what this is? Or someone who could actually read it? Hi everyone, I'm Nakshatra Nair, and today I stand here as a student, a speaker, and until a few days ago, if you'd asked me the same question, I would have raised my hands without hesitation. But since the past few days, I've been wondering, what if reading wasn't just something which we did with books, but reading was something which we did since we were little, without even realizing it. And now that I say it out loud, it does seem like a kind of strange and absurd thing to say. So, let me put it this way. What if I told you I have a special power? I can read your minds. Okay? Take a deep breath in. Everyone, take a deep breath in. Let it out. Don't worry, I'm not going to invade anyone's privacy here. And I think I can see someone in the back there, all eyes wide open, having trust issues right now. Don't worry. Let me tell you. Well, I don't actually know how to read minds. I mean, I can't. But maybe I could. Maybe we all could, even if it's just a little. And let me make one thing absolutely clear. I'm not here to talk about becoming an expert mind reader or a psychic. I want to talk about something much more simpler. A basic human ability. You see, I used to think that reading was very simple, but the more that I thought about it, the less simple it started becoming. And to tell the truth, we humans have been reading long before we even had a word for reading. Our ancestors didn't have a clock to tell them what the time was. They had to look at the sun, the moon, the color of the sky. They noticed patterns, remembered, connected, and somewhere along the way, they actually started reading them. And that makes me wonder, what if our world has always had its own invisible script? Something written in the movement of the wind, the color of the sky, or even the sound of water. Something which wasn't exactly visible to our eyes, but somehow visible to our minds. And then, we humans did something extraordinary, which isn't very unlike us. We took some of that invisible language and we made it visible. Humans invented symbols, letters, words, sentences, books, screens, and suddenly knowledge could travel beyond the person who had invented it. Someone could die and their ideas could continue living. And books started becoming a kind of memory for humans as it is. And that is honestly incredible. But is it all that there is to what this is? Think about something as ordinary as a plant. Suppose you read about this plant in a book. You learn about its name, where it grows, what its colors are, and you become so fascinated by it and you know so much about it, and then one day you walk outside and there it is, growing right in front of you. And you know what you do? It's what I did too. We just walk past it. We don't even recognize it, simply because we weren't looking. And you see, that's the part that really bothers me today. Because the ability, the plant, the curiosity, your eyes, they were always there. But were we really aware that the real thing was something which we could read too? And this is something which we do more often than we realize. Today's world is flooded with information, brimming with it to be honest. So much data, so much information, we may read a lot. But do we ever remember to process it? Compare it with reality. And we humans have become so good at taking the three-dimensional world and turning it into pieces of two-dimensional information that we can easily carry around. And honestly, that's amazing, and thank goodness that we did. Because otherwise, so much knowledge would disappear. But somewhere along the way, we start forgetting that the two-dimensional version is not the whole thing. We may read books, and books can tell me, the internet can tell me, all the information there is to know about plant science. But can it tell me about the beauty and the love and the personal insights that I might feel when I look at the flower myself? Let me give you an example of reading that has nothing to do with books. Every single person in this room has at some point been entirely read by the way their mother said their name. Not what she said, not even a full sentence, just one name, or maybe just even one look. And somehow that one look or one word comes with a complete weather report. I don't even know how my mom does that. For example, there's the first one. Fine, neutral, nothing's wrong, procedure is normal, I'm in the safe zone. But then there's the second one, slightly drawn out, a 3-syllable one, and it isn't even about me yet. It's a warning shot. It's like my mom saying, Nakshu, I know you're doing something in that room and I'm giving you 2 minutes before you fix it. And then there's the last one, the full name. And this one literally gives me the chills. First name, last name, sometimes in a location, like in the kitchen right now. And at this point, I don't even know what I did. Doesn't matter, I'm already working. Before my brain finished processing what the full sentence was, I'm already in the kitchen. And it's not a language anymore, it's more like a reflex for us, our mother's voices. Jokes apart, let's change perspective now. Think about 2 children walking into a meadow. One of them notices the plants, the trees, the flowers. The other notices the pebbles, the stones, the lush green stream. But it's the same meadow and it's the same moment, right? But they weren't really reading the same thing, were they? Now, suppose you write about this meadow in a book. You write the exact same sentence and both the children read the exact same words. But standing in that real meadow, they may have discovered extremely different things. And you see, that's the beauty. Because when we enter reality, we don't just receive information, we learn to notice, we feel. And what we notice and feel might be very different from what someone else does. A book can tell me what someone else read. But reality doesn't just tell me, it asks me, what did you see? And that is a question I think we are asking ourselves less and less. So, is this fixable or am I just being 14 and dramatic about it? Well, I believe it's fixable. Because if reading the world is a skill, then skills can be practiced, right? And maybe we don't have to take such huge steps. Maybe we can really just start small. Tomorrow, when you wake up, take a moment. Look around you. Ask yourselves, what do you see? And that, my dear audience, ladies and gentlemen, that question holds the potential to changing the whole perspective of how you see the world. So, coming back to this, in the beginning I asked you, how many of you here would call yourself a good reader? And most of us had a fairly quick answer. But now, I'm not so sure what that question means. Because I can give you all the information there is to know about this flower, and yet I may have never read it. I may have never noticed the difference between the petals, or the way it bends, the tiny imperfections present here, or how the light falls on it, or maybe even the fact that it won't exactly stay like this forever. And that makes me slightly uncomfortable. But maybe that's the point. It's reality. Because this awareness could be an integral part of our education system itself. Not without books, not without technology, but along with them, alongside them. Because that may be a reason why I believe that a person who reads 100 books may be a walking encyclopedia, and that is pretty cool. I believe that. But is it all that's present on the checklist? Or is there more? So let me ask you again. What makes a good reader? And maybe now, it's not such an easy question. And maybe the question changes. How much of the world have I actually learned to read? Because I believe we haven't forgotten how to read, we've just forgotten how much there is to read. And now I ask and leave it up to you. To read or not to read? That is the question. Thank you.